What is up, YouTube? This is Hypergon, your chap with the cap, and welcome to my month-long Halloween special. Yes, in celebration of the month of October, I have decided to devote this month entirely to videos based on the dark and spooky, specifically those residing within the Yu-Gi-Oh! World. And I couldn't think of a better way to start this off, given that the first day of October happens to be a Thursday, to do a special haunted edition of Throwdown Thursday. Now, I'm going to be doing several of these, actually. Pretty much every Throwdown Thursday is going to be based on some sort of a spooky deck, if you will. But the one I figured to start off with was the one that was released in the most recent DevPro update, the Phantom Knights. Now, for those of you guys who do not know what the Phantom Knights are, the Phantom Knights are the archetype used by Yuto in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5 series. He is the Xyz version of the main character Yuya, and he used these monsters in order to get out of his boss monster, the Dark Rebellion Xyz Dragon. I could not do that. But regardless, I did still have a lot of fun messing with these guys. It's a fairly underdeveloped archetype for what we have so far. There's only 2 monsters, 2 traps, and 1 Xyz monster, and that's it. But I did the best that I could with it, so without any further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so starting things off, we're going to go with a fairly lengthy duel. This is against an Arrow Mage player. Here we go, wrong side. Okay, so what I decided to do with this deck was, because unfortunately, of the 2 monsters that exist, neither one of them has the ability to special summon anything, so I don't really have too much to go off in that case, so I'd use a bunch of other monsters that have the ability to special summon things. One of which is this nifty little guy that I found, Kagemusha Knight, who, when you normal summon a level 3 monster, you can special summon them from your hand. And fortunately for me, this archetype is consisted entirely of level 3 Dark Warriors. And there's actually quite a few of them, so I just kind of put in some that I thought would work. Just kind of kept trying to do what I could with it, and it did actually work out kind of nicely. Even if the deck has no synergy with itself, there's plenty of other cards out there that do give it a nice little boost to it. So here I'm just kind of trying to get rid... I could have gotten rid of the Fiendish Chain, but I fear the Aroma Garden so much more because I know that's what triggers everything that these cards do, and I did not want to have to deal with that. So I just figured, you know, I'll be able to take care of the Fiendish Chain eventually. Worst case scenario, my Alucard will die, and I'll be able to do something else about it, but I wasn't too concerned about it. So these are the 2 monsters right here, Rugged Glove and Dusty Robe. Rugged Glove gives your monster a 1000-point boost if it's a Dark Xyz monster, which helps tremendously. And then you can banish it from the graveyard to send up the Phantom Knights card or the Phantom Spell Trap card from your deck to your graveyard. And then Dusty Robe here can, if he's in attack position, target a dark monster, switch him to defense mode, and then give that targeted monster 800 attack and defense until the end of the opponent's turn. And you can banish him to add a Phantom Knights card from your deck to your hand. So, like I said, they by themselves cannot do a whole lot, especially since they're both kind of weak. But by combining things like Marauding Captain, Junk Forward, and Kagemusha Knights, I was able to actually get them to work decently enough. But yeah, so I just kind of keep going here. I don't have a whole lot. Just decided to lose a turn, get something in the graveyard. That lose a turn actually causes me quite a bit of trouble. Not really surprisingly either, since it's... well, you know, it's a special summon deck. It's Xyz based, there's not much I can do. I just sent Rugged Glove so I can get Fog Blade. When you banish Fog Blade from the graveyard, you can Monster Reborn, 1 Phantom Knight monster. And I decided to go for Fortune Tune there, because I figured that would be about the stalliest card I could go with, since, you know, my effect won't be negated at that point. However, I did not count on him activating Human Winds, gaining life points, and destroying me there. That part caught me a little off guard, so I wasn't able to do too much with it. Fortunately, I did have an Xyz Reborn, so I was able to take care of that part. And then I just shuffled a couple things in. I did not realize Fortune Tune's effect to shuffle was mandatory, to be completely honest. So that catches me a little off guard later, but we'll get to that when that time comes. The main thing I was trying to get set up here in all my duels, really, was to get 2 Phantom Knight cards in my graveyard, because when their Xyz monster is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, you can special summon 2 Phantom Knight monsters and make them level 4, which is how you get out Dark Rebellion, since they're all level 3s. However, it was surprisingly difficult for me to actually be able to accomplish that. And it didn't help that this guy was just doing all of this crap the whole way through, and it just made it extremely difficult to be able to actually do anything. And the main reason I'm showing off this duel is primarily just because, honestly, I needed to, like, this kind of just proves that we really do need some sort of, like, a back row hate in the game. Like, just Heavy Storm, Harpy's Feather Duster, just something, because, I mean, look at what this guy's got going on here. He's got a Lose a Turn, he's got a Drying Winds, and he's got an Aroma Garden. I can't get past it. I've already used one of my 2 Galaxy Cyclones in the deck, and there's not much more I can really do. Plus, he has the other one, and this face down, which is another Fiendish Chain. If I could just have had something, I would have been fine. I figured there I could have made some kind of recovery, but honestly, I still really can't at this point. There's just not much I can do. So, yeah, he's got the full back row here. I would have killed for a heavy, like I was saying. It just would have helped tremendously. Best I had here was a Soul Charge. I really did not want to. He activated Jar of Avarice here just to shuffle his stuff back in. So, basically undoing everything that I did. Shuffled in all the monsters I just destroyed. And he has Moist Winds in his hand now, so... Or Humid Winds, I'm sorry. So now we can just search them all out again, which basically undoes everything I just did. So, yeah, he gets all this stuff off. He gets his life points. Now Dried Winds kicks in, destroys my monster. Jasmine then kicks in. He gets to draw a card, and just... He has all this set up, and there's really nothing I can do, even with my best efforts. I try. I give this an honest-to-God effort here, but it's really the only reason I chose this duel is just because it does show me, like, trying to fight back against this guy, but there's just nothing I can really do. Fiendish changed me for the second time, so I'm basically just stuck with this. He actually Fiendish changed both my monsters. I forgot he did that. But I just activated Phantom Knight's Shadow Veil just because this will come in handy in a little bit. When this guy's in your graveyard and you take a direct attack, you can special summon him in defense mode. But unfortunately, since he only has 300 defense, he usually doesn't survive the replay unless you're being poked by something like really, really weak. I mean, even his weakest monster, Jasmine, could still kill it, so it wasn't really a whole lot. I was just kind of trying to salvage what I could off of this, but there was not much I could really do. It was a bad position I was in. So he hits me with that. That happens. I do the Veil thing. He decided to activate Humid Winds just so he could search his thing out. I get my monster down at 0, and he still won, so it was kind of an inevitable thing. But I just figured, you know, let's just give it a shot, see what happens. I think I fought back pretty decently, but alright, now we move on to a pretty interesting duel, I'd say. Okay, cool. Sorry about the right side. This is a Gradle Yang Zing deck I'm facing off against, which is an interesting combo, but I can kind of see where it would work. Alright, so this is the boss monster, Phantom Blade's a Break Sword. What he does is he's basically a Scrap Dragon, but you have to detach for his effect. Normally it's only 2k, but since I did have Rugged Gloves, I was able to get the extra 1k, making him essentially a Blue Eyes. And then again, if he's destroyed while I have 2 Phantom Knights in my graveyard, I can special summon them as level 4s. But I was never actually able to get that off, regrettably, so there is that. So I would have used the Crush card I just sent off, but I realized it was a Yang Zing deck pretty early on. I really did not want to have to deal with that. So I just decided to get rid of Creation. I faced off against enough Yang Zing decks that I know what Creation does. This is when I found out it was also a Gradle deck, because that caught me really off guard. I wasn't expecting. I was thinking it'd be like a, you know, like a Josu or a Bixie. But, much to my surprise, it was an Eagle, so I have to face off against my own 3k monster now, and I really don't have anything in my hand, which kind of sucks. So I just decided I would just Soul Charge here, just try and go for something here. Then I just decided to go ahead, use up the Galaxy Cyclone, so I at least have that for later if he does hit me with another Gradle monster, which, lo and behold, is another one in his hands, so that's something I gotta worry about. But not a whole lot I can really do at this point. I just used Fogblade to go ahead and get him back. I know I could normal summon Necro and then go into an Alucard, try and get rid of some of his set cards. And of course, this time I naturally would have hit a Yang Zing monster. I decided to get rid of that because I think it was too big for me to take care of. I don't know why he didn't go for a Jiaozu there, honestly. I feel like that would have been a much smarter move and I wouldn't have been able to punch over it, but whatever. To each their own, I suppose. I only got rid of the Alucard because I figured it wouldn't do me much good at that point anyway, and I really needed to take care of the big monster. So, this way he decided to go for a Scar Right, extra 500 attack, and Trap Immune, so that caused me a bit of grief there. Plus, he can destroy all my special summon monsters and deal damage to me, so at this point I'm just trying to make sure I don't die to this thing, which is easier said than done. So, I just set up my preemptive Shadow Knight there, so I don't die immediately, along with an Xyz Reborn. I decided to go ahead and get Shadow Veil, use Shadow Veil first, so it's one less wasted card. I'd rather not use up my Xyz Reborn prematurely. So I figured, sorry about that, kind of jumped on me there. Anywho, so I accidentally fall into another thing. I did manage to kill this with Break Sword's effect, and even though I did fall into that, I did still have the Galaxy Cyclone from earlier ready for that. Unfortunately, I did not really have much else other than just this junk forward to go with, so. And unfortunately for me, he does manage to successfully go into a Gradle Dragon here, which is a bit of a problem for me. He destroys that, and that is the game right there. So, I'm 0 for 2 right now, not doing too great with them. And this is the last really good one I managed to get. And wrong side. There we go. Alright, so this is the last good duel I managed to get here. This is just against a random synchro player. I can't even really call it anything else because all this guy really does is just a medley of synchro summons. So here he goes for Stardust Spark Dragon. Just put it in defense mode so I don't run a 1 or something. Instead I just kind of set a monster and pass. Couldn't really do much else. Like I said, the Rugged Knights themselves do not actually do a whole lot. Interestingly enough, my opponent was actually kind of using the Shinrai monsters. So I just figured, alright, I think they have Black Rails. Let me just go ahead and try and take care of this thing right there. Use Ring, try and get as much damage as possible. I knew he'd have to use Stardust Spark Dragon's effects. So I kind of just tried to force it. I knew I was going to take that, but actually, no, sorry, I didn't die. It's Shadow Veil. Never mind. Yeah, unfortunately, Shadow Veil didn't work the way it was supposed to. It was supposed to be intended to be like Xyz material, but it didn't really work out that way. So, you know, things happen. But I do manage to go into a Break Sword. I unfortunately kind of accidentally did not destroy it, give it the 1,000 attack like I was supposed to. But that's okay because I still managed to get off a good 2k worth of damage, I'm sorry. And I was not overly concerned about too much else, so he just kind of brought that out as sort of desperation. I get a Crush card, which for me was more like, oh cool, I actually have something I can use to pop this Malicious without wasting any attacks. So I do this, go in, I get him down to 500. I wasn't able, if I had remembered to give him the attack boost like I was supposed to, that wouldn't have happened. I was just kind of rushing at this point and I just accidentally clicked it out. And he quit on me there, so that was pretty much it there. There wasn't much he could do. All he had was the 2 solar recharges and the 2 JDs. So yeah, that's pretty much it for them. Can't say I'm overly crazy about the Phantom Knights right now, but if they do get more support, then I think that these guys have a lot of potential. All they really need is just one that can special summon itself, some better back row support, really, and I think these guys could actually be an amazingly fun deck. But that is all I got for you guys on this one. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Are the Phantom Knights pretty cool, or is there another way to run them? Whatever you guys think, let me know down in the comments below. Of course, don't forget to also like my page on Facebook, like this video, and subscribe to my channel for further content. And until next time, happy hauntings!